Hello, everybody. It is April 19th, 2023. It's a Wednesday. Today it's supposed to be fairly sunny for me and about 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Uh, okay, come on, stop. Uh, so, yeah, just a reminder, yeah, I am a psychic clairvoyant, so, take everything with a grain of salt. Everything is for entertainment purposes only. And full disclaimers down in the box. And yeah, I've got a Venmo account down there if you want to tip jar, yarn fund, whatever you want to call it. Okay, let's start out. It's notes I've been taking since my last video uploaded, which was on Monday. So, and this is what I've got that I've heard, watched, seen, and then got a psychic impression, boom, about while I was seeing it. So, yeah, something that people need to be aware of. Yes, I do watch other YouTube creators, and unless you're going to have actually a celebrity on a live stream, when you need to name drop a celebrity in your video, that you say that, let's say Greta Garbo calls me and has conversations. That's name dropping. It's like, yeah, okay, anybody can say, oh, so and so called me or this person called me, but that's private communication between two people. Your YouTube audience doesn't need to know that, and by doing so, you're actually invading the privacy of your celebrity friend. So stop doing that. That's not really the best thing. You might need it for your own ego validation, but grow up. You don't need it. Yeah, a lot of things are being said about a lot of stuff's going on with Russia. Yeah, they have deployed nuclear subs, aircraft carriers. They're doing all sorts of military exercises in the Pacific theater right now. Some people are saying they're going to attack Japan. They're doing these exercises along with Japan because Japan also will be pulled into to fight against the Big Red Sea. So stop and making the assumption that the bear and the land of the rising sun are enemies when actually they are collaborating against the Big Red Sea. So chill out. And the other thing about that journalist who's being stuck in, where is he, Moscow right now? That the newspaper out in New York, that journalist, yeah, okay, so he got busted and is sitting in the pokey. Don't you realize he has to realize he's nothing but a bargaining chip? Sometimes they have to get people who have been locked up by JoJo and his friends. So, hey, this journalist is going to have a great book to write. So, suck it up, people. He knows he's a pawn. He's being given great material. He'll win a Pulitzer for his novel written about his time spent in Moscow. So, stop worrying. It's all a game. Someone asked me what's going on tomorrow with the eclipse. Whatever the planets and the universe has decided to happen will happen, and some things will go to the extreme. So just chill out, because this eclipse, and astrologically, you're not in personal control. So suck it up, deal with it. I have stuff going on tomorrow, so hey, I'm preparing for the best and the worst. So just deal with it, folks. You personal people on a personal level, you don't have any control of what goes on astrologically. And if you're constantly looking at things going, oh, well, that says I should be doing this or doing that, I go, that's just like a rough roadmap. When you start depending on things every single time and, oh, you can't go to the bathroom till the moon aligns with this, get a grip. Stop becoming so dependent on it. Yeah. I mean, everyone is going through stuff, and you just keep focusing on the negative instead of, okay, shit happened, live through it, move on. It's something people need to learn and start doing. Stop focusing on the past and the negativity that happened in the past. You are like dwelling on the past, pissing on today, and forgetting about the future. So get a grip, start living life. It's a banquet. Don't starve yourself to death. Now, okay, stuff that's going on in Europe, because what goes on over there across the pond does affect us here in the States. And that Ursula von der Leyen, who's the president of the European Commission, watched her the other day. She's actually forcing Europe into being more and more friendly so they can get in bed with the Big Red Sea. And they want Europe to stop dealing with countries, no trade with countries who are not affiliated with the EU and China. That's who she wants business only to be with. Other EU countries and the Big Red Sea. So ladies, if you keep sucking up, you're not going to be able to get your Hermes Birkin bags here in the States. Or your Louis Vuitton. Or some of your others. And all your perfumes and your high-end makeup go bye-bye. So, that's what this woman, Ursula, wants. It kind of reminds me, what was that Disney movie with the big black witch called Ursula? I've talked about her before. She's trouble. She needs to be eliminated or resign or whatever. She's just, yeah, and by the way, she's also promoting for China to be part of the Security Council. Yeah, she's part of the new Adolf regime. Another one. Just like the Z guy, you know, the green shirt guy out of the blue and yellow flag country. Yeah, she's like, maybe she should, instead of having her name Ursula von der Leyen, I know she has goes by an American alias, Rose something or other. Why doesn't she just go by Marta Goebbels? Or Eva Braun? Because that's all she is. Okay, New York. Yeah, New York police have done something to really embarrass little fat Alvin. They finally have cracked down on the underground, hidden police department that is run by the Big Red Sea. Yeah, there's any city that has a large Chinese population also has a hidden police department. The secret police of the Big Red Sea. Chicago has one. Houston. Los Angeles, San Francisco. Every city in the free world has a hidden, secret police branch office of the communist Big Red Sea. And finally, people in New York are saying, up yours to Big Fat Alvin. And they're starting doing busting on stuff that needs to be done. not gonna like it. And yeah, what they started to do in New York, which will spread worldwide, is you see, they want to get rid of real cars. They want everybody to drive a battery-operated computer. What's a real easy way to get rid of a lot of vehicles and force people into battery-operated computers? The collapse of parking garages in major cities. Parking garage collapse, there goes at least 1,000 cars. 1,000 real vehicles off the road, and now all these 1,000 people now are forced into a computerized battery-operated vehicle that can be shut down at the whim of the government. Yeah. Crash the parking garages. You know how many cars can be parked underneath Millennium Park and Grant Park in Chicago? Yeah. You got it. You got it. You got it. Well, for what everyone's been huffing and puffing about, because it's... Oh, okay, yeah, I admit it's my clickbait. Yeah, Henry... I've said it before and I'll say it again. Henry is still hanging out in the UK. He didn't fly back. Otherwise, like you said, we would have seen photographs. And Henry's in an environment that is... He's going through detox. And they don't have him in any sort of hospital. I am getting the feeling that he's parked up in Scotland, up on the Balmoral estate. And why do you think last weekend Charles and Camilla spent the weekend up at Balmoral? I think it was to check on his progress. Otherwise, they probably would have spent the weekend out at Windsor or Sandringham. No. My make that serious trek from London, Windsor, all the way up to the far reaches, the Highlands of Scotland, for a weekend. That's a lot of travel time. They did it because they had to check on Henry, who I think is stashed up there. Now, something I want to get to before I hit the rest of the stuff pertaining to the royals. Yeah, we're still seeing on the news all the stuff about the monsters, teen monsters that had their little wildling in Chicago over the weekend. And there are a lot of commentators making their statements and what are the mayors going to do. Well, I just thought I would give my opinion, what I've been saying about this situation for years, people who know me, who have heard me say this. What we have nationwide are children raising children. Because these little teenage baby mamas realize that once they have a kid, they can be emancipated and basically be given everything through the government. They don't have to work as long as they drop babies. And the more kids they have, the more money they get. Well, since we have a situation of a lot of teen mothers giving birth, so if a 14-year-old is now coming up, 14 to 18-year-old, or I'm going to say 12 to 18, female, is discovered pregnant. Well, she's given a choice. First of all, she's removed from her existing home because that mother has basically messed up and her parental rights are terminated. That girl is then ward of the state. She is now given choices. Either a termination or she can go full term. But She is now under the jurisdiction of the state, and instead of putting her into a foster care, no. Let's bring back the homes, the boarding schools for wayward girls. She's now placed into a boarding school where A, she is going to get her high school diploma, and B, she will learn a vocational trade like culinary arts, cosmetology, or she can go into one of the other trades. Or she can bust her ass, get her academics up, and receive an academic scholarship. That is her choice. She screwed up by not keeping her legs closed, so now she's a ward of the state in boarding school, segregated from all males, forced to attend classes to get an education, and her choices are vocational program, or she has to bust her butt scholastically for academic scholarships. I think that will stop a lot of this nonsense, because the better educated the mother, the better behaved the child. It will stop this child after child raising children, giving birth. And if they're able to pinpoint who the sperm donor is, he's placed in the same situation. Boarding school for boys, education, vocational training. Our country is falling apart because we have too many computer engineers. Computer engineers can't build a damn thing. No, they can't. All you are is a software program writer. You're not an engineer. Engineer can build a bridge. So these little sperm donors, they get sent off to a boarding school, and in addition to getting their high school diploma, they're sent to learn the building trades. How to be a carpenter, painter, iron worker. Those guys make damn good money, so they don't have to deal drugs. You want the kids to... This is my way of... Every one of those kids need to be parked off into a boarding school, not juvie hall. That's my solution to it. Oh, yeah, I saw, yeah, okay, JoJo is like, they're asking more and more information pertaining to how many other family members are on the payroll. Who else's bank accounts are they hiding the money under? The JoJo's family is going to be, it's going to be a crash and burn. I'd say by the end of summer, everything will be revealed. Now back to the royals. Yeah, they're saying, oh, Henry and Rachel are included in the program. Well, like somebody said, that's probably the only photograph they have of the entire immediate nuclear family. So, of course, they had to use it. And, folks, this stuff pertaining to Charles's coronation, a lot of stuff has been prepared years in advance. As soon as Her Majesty QE2 they knew that she was on the decline, they started prepping everything, getting it set to go. So that coronation program was probably designed 2 years ago, or sometime in 2019. As soon as they got that picture, they're like, oh, this is a good one. Let's throw this in for the program when we need it. So, most likely that's what happened. All of this stuff has been prepped for years. So chill. And they're saying, oh, Sarah Ferguson didn't get the invite to the coronation. Well, no, because she's not legally married to Andrew any longer. So she's kind of like a friend of the family, technically, when everybody knows she and Andrew are partners. So my feelings are that Sarah is grandmother to two of the youngest members of the royal family, little Sienna and Austin. So it would not surprise me if Sarah was already back at Buckhouse and making sure that everything is set to go for when they get back, and keeping her eye on the itty bitties who are too young to attend the service. So Sarah has a job for the coronation. She's the family member who's back at the house, making sure everything is set to go for when they get back. And who better, but she actually is still called Duchess of York. She knows what needs to be done and how it needs to be set up, and so, hey, that's a great position job for Sarah. And then she's given her place of honor at the rest of the events that are happening on the 7th, 8th, and whatever. So that's what's going on there. She's going to wrangle the youngest royals, the really young grandkids. And hey, well, they couldn't have been brought over because I heard from someone that there aren't any valid passports for the alleged children. So yeah, of course, they would have come up with an excuse that one of the kids had something like chicken pox or something like that they couldn't travel, so she had to stay home. Yeah, she had to stay home because there are no passports for the children, and how can you get a passport for a child that doesn't exist? Yeah, if there really were children in existence, they would have already been over here. And Sarah, she would not be squawking because Auntie Sarah would be busy watching the little ones while the big event is happening over at the Abbey. That's Sarah's job. Okay, and oh yeah, people are like worried about how do the horses maintain. I'm like, those horses that are used for these big pageants, big events, people don't realize they exercise those horses in the parks. I mean, Green Park, Hyde Park. They actually have riding trails, and it's not surprising to be walking down a residential street and you'll be hearing clip clop, and someone's riding a horse right behind you, because some of these older houses, they have mews houses behind them. There's an alley. They call it a close over in the UK. It's a small street, and it's where all the mews houses are, and the mews houses are the former stables where they had their carriage and horses. I mean, a lot of these neighborhoods were built back in the Georgian times. Some of these houses are dating back to 16 and 17 yeah, after the Great Fire. So 17th century. Some of these Georgian houses, yeah, that were built like 1760s. So behind them, yeah, they've got a building that held the carriage and the horses. And some of these big estate houses still have horses. Yeah, and there's a mini stable at Kensington Palace. Many times I had to, where I was at, we would have to be careful because Margaret would come flying out down one of the side streets on her horse. Yeah, because there was a way to cut through the parks from, in reality, Kensington Palace to Clarence House to the Buckingham Palace. You can do it on horseback if you know what you're doing. And Margaret, to be ornery, would do it. She'd be like, ride her horse from KP to Clarence House, hand the reins over, and someone would be standing there with the horse, and she goes, oh, get me a car. I don't feel like riding home. So then someone would have to come get the horse, take the horse back, and that was Margaret, Crazy Maggie. You had to be careful of her, especially if she was behind the wheel. That woman was lethal on the roads. Yeah. And people are like saying, oh, the coronation is so trimmed down, we want to wear our robes and this and that. I go, listen, they're blaming it on Charles being frugal. One of the big reasons why he's being frugal is that if they had a coronation on the scale of his mother's, it would be hundreds of millions of pounds. Charles knows he's not going to have a 70-year reign. It's going to be between 5 and 10 years probably, because we know he has health issues that they don't discuss. So he's keeping the costs down in order that William, who is going to be younger, William will probably succeed in his 50s, so that'll give him at least 25 years on the throne. William will have the huge, monster, blowout coronation with the 5,000 in attendance, where they will build the bleachers at the Abbey, where they will have the huge event. Charles is watching pennies, so he knows that when it is time for William, William can have a coronation on the scale of his grandmother. So stop bitching, people. There's a reason why Charles is being frugal, because he knows he won't be on the throne for very long. And you got to remember that in the UK, stuff that is passed from one monarch to another monarch, they don't pay taxes on. Should they give anything that is passed directly to the new monarch, then taxes have to be paid on the whole kit and caboodle. So of course not. He is not going to be dispersing anything that he received from his mother initially. Because can you imagine paying it's 40% death duties in the UK? 40% of 600 million pounds? That's nearly 3 million pounds out the window. No, they can't disperse it for 6 years. And there are some things privately, that material objects that the Queen was able to put into the care of others. But when it comes to the big finances stuff, UK inheritance laws are super confusing. I kind of can make them out, but yeah, he's not able to disperse cash out. Otherwise, taxes will eat up at least 40% of it. Now, something I forgot to mention on Monday, but I will today. Yesterday was Holocaust Remembrance Day. Now I'm pretty familiar, and I have studied it quite a bit, and I know quite a bit about it. And a lot of the nonsense that led up to the Holocaust is happening now. But most people are too stupid to realize it, too stupid. Ignorance can be fixed. Ignorance can be corrected, but stupidity is forever. And there's some people in the congregation that I was kicked out of because I told them they were stupid. They didn't know what they were talking about. I will not be controlled by a little computer idiot who claims to be the president of the board, or a 30-something rabbi who doesn't know what the term U-boat means. Yeah, I hope maybe they learned something yesterday. But they're so woke, so compliant. Until they grovel for an apology, those two will be like gleefully buying stock in a place similar to Theresienstadt. That's where they're probably going to buy their retirement at. That's how foolish and stupid they are. How many other people neglected to learn? Oh, they cried for all of everybody lost. How many people took the time to learn what led up to it happening? What were the political moves that caused it to happen? What were people complacent about? They allowed their liberties to be taken away, bit by bit. just like they're trying to do here in the United States and worldwide. How many people were foolish enough to take a toxic liquid to allow themselves to be a human guinea pig? How many people basically put something over their face that's, in my opinion, equal to slapping a yellow star on your chest? I never wore one, and I never got the liquid. I knew better. Yeah, a lot of people are going to find out that they've taken it, that they're going to end up with a lot of medical issues. Yeah. There's going to be some serious lack of being able to reproduce. I feel sorry for these kids. But that's when we come into back what I was talking about, is that these teenage incubators be put in boarding school. That child, that fetus that they go full term with, is then put up for adoption, because we're going to have so many couples who are unable to reproduce that will adopt a child. They don't care what color it is. It could be purple with green spots, and they will raise it. Yes, that's how we're going to salvage the world. Put these teenagers, these children who are bearing children, put them into boarding school, have them learn, give them force an education into their brains, put those children up for adoption, because there's going to be so many people who are now unable to reproduce, so they will adopt a child no matter where it comes from. And it will go to a two-parent home, which is needed. I don't care what combination the parents are, but it takes two parents to raise a kid. So let's go from there. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've got for you today. This is a long one. Serious rant. But hey, life goes on. Chill out about tomorrow. What's going to happen is going to happen. It's just going to be more extreme. Today's the 19th, so I'll be talking to you on the 21st. And yeah, I think this Saturday I will be doing a live stream at 1 o'clock Central Standard Time. So everybody have a good one. Enjoy. I'll be talking to you on Friday. Bye-bye.